Boy, it is a gorgeous day, and it's time for the January and, broadly speaking, 2019 YouTube update. First of all, Crap Shots / The Crap Shoot actually did a whole update about that. Check it out at the top, the little eye thing up in the corner is there's also a link in the description. But check that out, it's like its own sort of 6 minutes thing talking about what we're doing with Crap Shots. Loading Ready Live, fun statistic. We did 16 episodes of Loading Ready Live in 2018, which is fewer than we said we would because we'd originally said they'd be every 2 weeks, and obviously that didn't end up happening because there's just a lot going on. And so what we've said for this year, which we announced at the end of the most recent episode, is that Loading Ready Live will be monthly, but actually monthly. So it's not going to get preempted by a pre-release or by other events or anything. In fact, the next one's already scheduled in for February 23rd. So that'll be good. And just like 2018, every episode will have an episode of Commodore Hustle along with it. And we are also endeavoring to make sure that every episode of Live has a pre-record segment, like us going and doing a fun thing. So, there's some prior planning that'll be involved in that to make sure that all happens, but that's part of the whole thing. It's all part of a broader plan to do things maybe a little less frequently, but do them better individually, which I'm excited about. Speaking of trying things differently, we're going to try something fun with the panelists. Now don't worry, we love the panelists and it's not going away, but it is going to take a short break. It's going to go away at the end of February, be off during April, and then come back at the end of April with some tweaks, some slight changes. No spoilers, we're excited about them. I think they'll be great. We think you'll really like them or we wouldn't do it. So I think it'll be fun. But just so you know, there won't be panelists during the month of April. Actually, if you're interested, part of that is that we're gonna try moving to sort of a seasonal recording structure for the panelists where we do it in little, what's that word Beej uses for like anime seasons? Cours or something? I don't know. Anyway, they'll be on and off for a month and then on for 2 months. So sort of like 8 episode quarterly seasons is the plan. It's an experiment. We've never tried something like this before. We've always just been like pounding the treadmill to make sure that it's weekly everything. And, discovering that maybe there's a limit to how sustainable that is. So the panelist is part of that. And we'll let you know how it goes, success or failure, though I'm expecting a success or we wouldn't be trying it. Updates on RoadQuest and Quirpline, the same as they were last time, which is that we are still working on them, they are still happening. I know that it's taking a long time. We want them to be the best that they can. We want them to be good. We got to find the time to make them right. And let me tell you, they're both coming together really nicely. So when they get here, which they will soon, I think you'll be very happy. Update on streaming. A lot of this comes from that huge 2019 meeting we had about looking at whether or not we wanted to make changes for certain things. And it turns out that we thought that maybe there are some changes we should try, but they're not all going to be implemented right away. So we're going to be making some tweaks to the streaming schedule probably in April. We still haven't worked out exactly what they're going to look like, which is why I'm not telling you what they are. It will not be as nearly as drastic as when we completely revamped the streaming schedule a couple years ago, so don't worry. It's not like we're turfing everything. In the meantime, Watch and Play is now 2 hours because it's tough to sustain that for 3 hours, and Adam's Game House is back every Saturday rather than alternating between Saturdays and Thursdays. Asterisk, except of course for this Saturday, because we are hosting the top 8 of the 2018 season of the Victoria BC Highlander Championships, and that's going to be all day. We did this last year, it was awesome. Terrific Highlander Magic gameplay, full commentary. It's going to be a lot of fun, but that doesn't mean that for this week, Adam's Game House is still going to be on Thursday. But then Saturdays, also watch the Highlander thing. Also watch Adam. Convention-wise, we're going to be at C2E2 in Chicago in mid-March, doing a live of the panelists, and we'll be presenting the late night dub fight, as well as doing some other fun stuff there. And then the next weekend we'll be in Boston at PAX East, So please do come and say hi. It's always nice to see people at these shows. And we've never been to Chicago before, so that'll be fun to do C2E2. At these shows, of course, you'll also be able to engage in the commerce with us. And speaking of which, shout-outs to Beach, who's been taking up the mantle on a lot of our online merch stuff. Now we have a system in our store where if something is out and you want it, you can give us your email that we will only ever use to tell you if that item is back in stock, and then we will never use that email again. In fact, it's already worked because we just restocked the JoJo's Bizarre playmat and people are getting emails about it, and the system works. So that's exciting. I want to briefly talk about money because that comes up a lot. We wouldn't be here without you. Literally the vast majority of the income that makes Loading Ready Run able to happen, that pays all the people who are involved in it, is directly from you. Either subscribing on Twitch or our Patreon, which is the highest it's ever been, and we are so grateful for that. Or soon, YouTube. YouTube has added this thing that's basically like a Twitch subscription on YouTube. So we'll be activating that. It's called YouTube Memberships. It's another sort of avenue for that. If, say, you only watch us on YouTube, but you don't feel like signing up for Patreon and getting into that whole ecosystem, but you already have Google account, this is just an easier way for you to support us directly if you so desire, and there is never pressure from us to do it. We're just happy that you're here. So this again will of course bring the inevitable question that we get a lot, which is how would we prefer you spend, say, your $5? We have no preference. It's truly up to you. You know, you get emotes one place, you get icons another place. We're just thrilled that you want to support us. It means the world because we couldn't do this without you. The upside to Patreon is that if you only want to do like $1, like $1 a month, so $12 for a year, so cheaper than Netflix, cheaper than a month of Netflix for a year, you can do that on Patreon. And if everyone who's a YouTube subscriber did that, I mean, we'd be hiring people, let me tell you. I say it a lot, and I hope I don't sound like a broken record, but thank you for being here and for letting us do this. Thank you also for being understanding. Whenever we talk about how we're gonna slightly reduce something or pull back slightly, people are like, you know what? I get it. And that means a lot, because I've seen a lot of online communities that get very mad when a creator is honest and is like, hey, I can't do this. So with that in mind, one of the other goals that we talked about at our meeting was a push towards 80% capacity, which is to say that we want to try and be operating at producing 80% of what we are capable of producing, rather than what we're doing now, which is like 110. We're like beyond even 100. People always say like, wow, you do so much stuff, you're always busy, how do you do this? And it's hard. It's really hard. And when something extra comes up, like Road Quest, for example, then we're already at 100, and then we're adding this other thing on top. And that's what makes things like that so difficult. So we're gonna try and push towards 80%. Does that mean we're just gonna cut 20% of everything we do? No, that's not, don't worry. We're not just gonna like turf a whole bunch of stuff, and it's a push toward, and we'll see how close we get. But just so that you know, the idea being that we are trying to allow ourselves breathing room so that we can do extra stuff, so that we can try more new things and play around. And we have a lot of ideas. We talked about a lot of stuff that people are really into, new things that we don't have time for if we don't pump the brakes a little bit on one or two other things. So I don't have anything actionable to share based on that. Like not because I'm not telling you, just I don't know. Like the crap shots thing we already went over, but I don't have anything that's like, so as a result of that, this will be happening. Those are not decisions we've made. But I wanted you to know now that we're gonna try and sort of make it so that we're not always going full tilt 100% all the time, so that we have the freedom to try and make new things that we think you'll like and that we'll like. Because that's sort of always been our thing, is we make stuff that we think is really good and we share it out there, and enough of you like it too that it all works out, which is just, God, can't believe how lucky we are. Finally, in the realm of social engagement, do follow us on Twitter at LoadingReadyRun for ongoing updates, at LRRMTG for Magic-specific stuff. We have an Instagram. We're still not amazing at actually using it, but occasionally some pictures and little videos get out there on the gram. Also, of course, the Discord is a wonderful community of terrific people. Nearly 7,000 members or something. It's probably more than that. I'm sure there's a caption on screen yelling at me that I'm getting my numbers wrong. You should check that out. And I mentioned the Patreon. If you're backing at $10, make sure your address is up to date because we're going to do another mail out of the thank you cards. And thank you. The cards are there to say thank you, but I also say thank you. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Woo! Metrics. For real though. Thanks for being you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the wonderful community that has popped up around us. Thanks for letting us do what we do. Thanks for being yourself. Any questions? Fire them off in the comments. I'll respond. Cheers.